Hello, I'm Laika and we are the group 3 and we're here to discuss a variety of topics. So our objectives in today's discussion is first to know what is political self and being a Filipino. Second is to know the Filipino values and traits. Third is to have idea about Filipino markers and lastly is to know how to be a good Filipino. So today I will discuss to you about political self and being a Filipino. So before anything else, what is political self? So political self organizes one's belief, attitudes, and affiliations, and aids the processing of politically relevant information. It constitutes knowledge about the constitutions, government, and governance. It also exemplifies the ideals and aspirations of the people, embodies the rules and principles of the states, and determines the status and power of the people. So political self is often described as citizenship. So according to Maria Serena Jokno in year 1997, citizenship is the most basic identification with the nation. So citizenship makes a person relates himself or herself to a group of others who also see themselves as citizen of a larger polity. So origin of political self is first from the family. So the family has the hierarchical structure. So through hierarchy of positions, status, and power. So example, either the mother or the father act as the leader and establish rules to maintain the order in the family. So this only shows that authority is necessary in the development of political self and identity. Second is school. The school's responsibility is to teach moral, spiritual, and political values that will help the student to become a patriotic and morally upright citizen. So example natin mga subject like ESP, pag high school, and ROTC. So school is similar to family where the teacher act as the leader in classroom that set the rules and regulations to maintain order in class. The third is church. So this helps to shape ideals of citizenship and democracy through the religious teaching, values, and tradition. So fourth is the peers. So the interaction with the peers encompasses and emphasizes the equal distribution of power, rights, and privileges among the member of the group. Lastly is the mass media. This is the key to source of information on politics since pwede naman ta maka-search, easy naman ang pag-search. So, being a Filipino, I have a question. Who do you think are the genuine Filipino? So, who are Filipinos? So, according to the 1987 Philippine Constitution, Filipino citizens are those whose father or mother are citizens of the Philippines. Second are those born before January 17, 1973, and of Filipino mothers who elect Philippine citizenship upon law. So, that's all for political self and being Filipino. So, the next topic is all about Filipino values and traits that will be discussed by the next member.
Hello, I'm Jika Rose Bobo and together with Miss Eliza Tixon, we're gonna discuss about Filipino values and traits. The Philippines is a lush island paradise famous for its grandiose mountain views, pristine beaches, and a rich and diverse culture changing from province to province. While the Philippines may be well known for its awe-inspiring beauty, perhaps the Filipinos' unique traits or reputable values and laudable talents make the country a place to be. Tourists who have visited the Philippines can never forget the big and bright smiles that greeted them, the colorful and loud jeepneys, the common Filipino phrases such as mabuhay and salamat, and the habits such as saying po and opo to the elders, leaving shoes or slipper at the front door before entering a house, and the importunate asking of kumain ka na ba, meaning have you eaten yet? Indeed, it is a marvel to experience these unique traits of the Filipinos firsthand. Few of these traits are as follows. The Filipino hospitality. A Filipino trait that is known everywhere is the Filipinos' brand of hospitality. Filipinos welcome their guests and tourists as if they are their own brothers and sisters. They always make their guests feel at home, offering them something to eat or even a place to stay. They will bring out their best sets of plates and chinaware for their honored guests and would even go far as spending a lot of money and going into debt just as so they can satisfy them. In the most local shops, Filipino salespersons will greet their customers with warm welcome and say thank you when they leave even without buying anything. Filipino also anticipate giving tours to friends who will visit their hometown and treating them to the best restaurants and delicacies for free. During festivals or fiestas, Filipinos serves heaps of festive foods and invite the whole barangay over. They are also fond of giving pasalubong or token from their travels and pabaon or farewell gift to their visitors. Respect for elders. Filipinos greet their elders by kissing their hand while saying mano po and constantly using po and opo in conversations. Forgetting to address older people properly will regard them as rude and impolite. There is also a wide array of references to older people such as ate for older sisters, kuya for older brothers, tito and tita for uncle and aunt, respectively, lolo and lola for grandfather and grandmother, and manong and aling for older people outside the family. Close family ties. Filipino maintain a tight relationship with their families regardless if the children are old enough and already have families of their own. They are also fond of family reunions during birthdays, holidays, or fiesta year-round. Some Filipino families even opt to live in a big house where everyone can stay together. Nursing homes are not always an option for family members and choose to take care of their elder themselves. Cheerful personality. Filipinos have a habit of smiling and laughing a lot. They smile when they are happy or sometimes even when they are sad or angry. Smiling has been a coping strategy for many Filipinos, especially during trying times and calamities. For instance, Filipinos smile and wave at the camera while being interviewed even after a fire or flooding incidents. They always try to maintain a positive outlook in life, which makes them resilient and able to manage almost everything with a simple smile. Self-sacrifice. The self-sacrificing attitude of Filipinos can be seen as an extension of the Filipino hospitality. Filipinos go out of their way to extend help to their friends, families, and loved ones. They wish comfort and better lives for their loved ones and would even go to the extent of working abroad hundreds of miles away to earn more money and save up for them. Overseas Filipino workers or OFWs sacrifice a lot. That is why they are regarded as the modern-day Filipino heroes. There are also times when the eldest among the children of the family would give up school to work and provide for the rest of the family and educate his or her siblings. Bayanihan. Bayanihan is the spirit of communal unity and cooperation of Filipinos. It is also about giving without expecting something in return. Filipinos are always ready to share and help their friends and loved ones who are in need. It may not always be in monetary form, but the time and effort they give also count as a form of help for them. This trait is particularly manifested in how Filipinos rally themselves to send aid to those who are severely affected by natural calamities.
Good day everyone, I am Melissa K. Tixon and I will tackle about the following talking points: bahala na attitude, colonial mentality, manana habit, ningaskugon, pride, crab mentality, and Filipino time. First off, we have bahala na attitude. Bahala na is the Filipino version of the line Hakuna Matata, meaning no worries. The phrase is said that have originated from Bathalana, where Bathala means God, and the phrase meaning leaving everything into God's hands. It can also be viewed as something similar to the cheerful and positive attitude of Filipinos and allowing situations take care of themselves instead of worrying about them. Filipinos usually say bahala na when they are unable to decide their next course of action or when they have no idea what will happen next. They say this phrase as if all they want is to go with the flow, not minding what the outcome might be. We also say bahala na when we have done everything we could do and the future remains uncertain. We calculated the risk and it does not seem to be in our favor, but we will proceed, much is at stake. Scholars also theorize that saying bahala na is like admitting that people lack a sense of internal locus of control, which means that they don't believe they have the power to effect change in their lives. There are other scholars, though, who interpret bahala na in a more positive manner. Instead of seeing it as an act of laziness or a fatalistic approach to problems, they say that it is actually a demonstration of determination and willingness to take risks. Next, we have colonial mentality. Colonial mentality is regarded as the lack of patriotism and the attitude where Filipinos favor foreign products more than their own. This does not only concern goods, but also the desire to look more foreign than local and keep up with foreign beauty trends. It is attributed to the centuries of colonization Filipinos had experienced under the Spanish, American, and Japanese rule. An example and common practice of colonial mentality is when the entertainment and beauty industries in the Philippines favor Filipinos mixed with European ancestry or fair-skinned people, also known as mestizo or mestiza, just like the Spanish colonizers. Mañana habit. This is the Filipino term for procrastination. It was derived from a long Filipino phrase called mamaya na, meaning dawdling things, which could have been done at an earlier time. It is a poor habit of laziness that results in heavier workloads. Mañana habit is a dream killer. It prevents you from getting started to achieve anything of worth. We must finish what we started. We cannot get anywhere if we cannot even make the first step. People who are slaves to mañana habit must set themselves free to succeed. People get sluggish sometimes. They tend to put off some tasks that could have or should have done right away. It's been a habit for most Filipinos that usually lead to cramming, where one would just start working when the deadline is near or will be on the following day. As we can see that if we always make an excuse or any way to delay to finish a job as soon as possible, we might be in a hurry when the deadline is near. As a result, we might tend to panic, worry too much, overcrowding, and not able to concentrate. So we might get more mistakes than a good outcome. Next, we have ningas kogon. Ningas is a Filipino term for flame and kogon is a Filipino term for kogon grass that easily burns out after it is put into flames. Ningas kogon refers to the attitude of eagerly starting things but quickly losing eagerness soon after experiencing difficulty. Just like how fast the fire of a kogon grass burns out moments after being ignited. Laziness is a common problem among Filipinos. That is why Filipinos are regarded as one tamad or lazy one. So the metaphor ningas kogon was coined to mean projects, promises, or decisions that were started on a high note but immediately stopped or were left unfinished. To overcome ningas kogon mentality, give and accept more compliments and encouragements. This is to avoid hopelessness, rather give strength and enthusiasm to finish what has been started. Avoid starting a goal or project if you know in yourself that you cannot finish it. Be aware of the consequences of ningas kogon mentality and reflect on this. Ask help from somebody else, that way the work will be easier and there will be lesser chances of not finishing it. Make it a point that finishing what you started will reflect who you are and what you have achieved. Next is pride. Most Filipinos hold on to their pride as if they are more precious than keeping a good relationship with family and loved ones. When two parties are not in good terms, they find it so hard to apologize and wait until the other party asks for an apology first. Pride is the state of holding oneself or another in high esteem. Prideful people think only of themselves and their own needs first, not about the needs of others around them who may be suffering. They often take advantage of others. They are not willing to help people who need it, even when they can do so easily. To control pride and become a humble person, do not compare yourself with anyone else nor compete against anyone. Acknowledge the strength of others and encourage those who are weaker than you. Admit your mistakes and be willing to apologize if you have done wrong. Practice sportsmanship. Do not let appreciation get into your head. Do not envy others and be content and thankful for what you have. Put others before yourself. Do not demand attention and respect. Treat others like how you want to be treated and serve others. Do not think highly of yourself and do not boast about your achievements. Let others notice your strength or positive traits. Submit to the authorities set above you and associate with those who are weaker or lower than you. Always thank those who help or serve you, even in small things. Next, we have crab mentality. This is a toxic trait among Filipinos where one resents the achievement of another instead of feeling happy for that person. Just like crabs in a container, they pull each other down and ruin each other's reputation rather than bringing them up, resulting to no progress. Filipinos should change this troublesome attitude and focus more on their own inadequacies to improve oneself. One example of crab mentality is someone who spreads malicious rumors in their workplace about a coworker who is up for a promotion. Even though they don't benefit from spreading those rumors, crab mentality can strongly influence people's thoughts, statements, and actions in a variety of situations, so it's important to understand it. Crab mentality is associated with a wide variety of issues, both when it comes to the people who have it and when it comes to the people that it's directed against. Most notably, crab mentality can harm the performance of the people that it's being directed against, and can also hurt them in other ways, such as by causing them to feel isolated. Crab mentality can hinder the ability of individuals within groups to work together, and hinder the ability of different groups to collaborate with each other. It can make the general group environment much more unpleasant and cause the people who have it to waste time doing things and don't benefit them. Crab mentality can amplify negative emotions such as greed and jealousy among the people who have it. Lastly, crab mentality can cause people to act in a way that is socially undesirable and consequently to push other people away. Filipino time. Filipinos have this common attitude of arriving late at commitments, dinner, or parties, especially if they are meeting someone close to them. They tend to not observe punctuality altogether. For example, the 7 p.m. call time becomes adjusted to 7:30 p.m. and almost everyone arrives at the same time everyone is using Filipino time. Filipino time also means about the state of being late for a minute up to hours compared to the standard time. In line with Filipinos, starting things late have been part of our culture. It seems that many either practice it or just accept it. Hence the term Filipino time, showing how our culture values time. According to Father Miguel Bernad, who wrote an essay about Filipino time in his book entitled Budhay, a journal of ideas and culture. The phrase Filipino time was coined by the Americans in the 1900s because they were irritated by the lack of punctuality of Filipinos. This habit of unpunctuality was previously seen during the Spanish colonialism and was even featured in Dr. Jose Rizal's novel El Filibusterismo.
Next part to discuss are Filipino markers. The first Filipino marker are proverbs or salawikain. Filipino proverbs are sayings that convey lessons and reflections in Filipino practices, beliefs, and traditions. These proverbs give Filipinos wisdom and philosophies to live by where we anchor all our actions and decisions in life. Damiana Eugenio, or the mother of Filipino folklore, categorized proverbs into 6 classifications. The first classification we have proverbs expressing general attitude towards life and the laws that govern life. An example of this proverb in Tagalog is, "Ang kapalaran ko di ko man hanapin, dudulog lalapit kung talagang akin," which means in English, "The good fortune intended for me will come without my seeking it." The meaning behind this proverb is that Filipinos believe in fate, or what we call kapalaran. And we believe that it's what governs life. This proverb entails that everything happening in a person's life is decided by his or her fate. Thus, everyone has their intended good or bad fortune and will come in due time as per the works of fate. The second one is ethical proverbs. A good example for this proverb is, "Walang utang na di pinagbayaran," which means in English, "No debt remains unpaid." The meaning behind this proverb is, by way of basic ethics towards one person to another, this proverb suggests that any debt owed by a person to someone should be paid back no matter how or when. This goes beyond just offering gratitude to paying homage to whomever one owed something from, may it be tangible or intangible things. The third one are proverbs expressing a system of values. A good example for this is the Buholano saying or proverb you can see in your screen, which means in English, every drop of perspiration of an industrious person will be rewarded. This is a parallel proverb to a Tagalog one saying, "Kapag may tiyaga, may nilaga," meaning a reward will come to those who persevere in life. A basic example for this is how students graduate or have good grades if they study smart or hard. Proverbs expressing general truths and observations about life and human nature. A good example for this is, "Huli man at magaling ay naihahabol din," which means in English, a good thing is never too late. The meaning behind this proverb is, by way of the general truth and observation, this proverb proves that doing a good thing and a good deed is never too late. By way of general truth and observation, this proverb proves that doing a good thing and a good deed is never too late. A good example is helping someone study to pass their exams, because you've noticed that he or she failed from the previous one. It is never too late to help him or her. The fifth one are humorous proverbs. The best example is, "Katagal na nindahan, kabili-bili balindang," or in English, after shopping for a long time, one ended up with a poor purchase. The meaning behind this proverb lies from the very word humorous or funny. This proverb is very relatable among girls, especially when shopping. We tend to get overwhelmed with all the merchandise sold we can choose from, the designs, sizes, functionality, and many more that by the end of the day, we regret our decisions and we wish that we should have opted for the one that's better. The last one are miscellaneous proverbs. The best example for this is the Pampango proverb you can see in your screen, which means in English, "The sleeping boatman does not know the streams he passed." Miscellaneous proverbs are proverbs specific to a certain area, just like this example that's specific to the beliefs of the Pampango in Pampanga. This proverb means that if a person is inattentive or blind as per the hidden meaning of the word sleeping, then that person will miss the opportunities that he or she should have grabbed onto. Like any other cultures in the world, Filipinos also subscribe to their own set of superstitions passed down from generation to generation. Some may be influenced by beliefs from other cultures, but Filipinos have retold these superstitions according to their own experiences and ended up with their own interesting versions. There are hundreds of Filipino superstitions we could go over, but we do not have all the time in the world, so I've listed 4 superstitions from the book, and two more from what I've observed are still in practice up till today. The first superstition the Filipinos believe is that when a woman is singing while cooking, she will end up a spinster. But of course, there is no proof that this superstition is true because my own mother sings while she cooks, but then she's not a spinster, she's married. The next superstition is avoiding taking pictures in threes because it is said that the one in the center is to die. Many Filipinos believe and are scared of this certain superstition because there were certain coincidences in which a group took photos in threes and the one in the center had indeed died, but it does not guarantee that those coincidences are proof that this superstition is actually true. The third superstition is not going home immediately after attending a wake or a funeral. This is still a practice up till today where the elders tell us to brush ourselves off the spirits of the dead by stomping on ash or what we call in Filipino, pagpag. The last superstition on the list is saying tabi-tabi po out loud in nature. Similarly, this superstition is still in practice, especially when there is no bathroom and we are left with no choice but to pee in the grass. We say tabi-tabi po to warn other elements about the deed we are about to do, as if asking for their permission.
There are still two remaining markers which remind us of our nationality. The next one are the myths and the legends. Due to the Philippines' rich culture and history, many legends and myths have sprung about many things that are beyond imagination. First of all, let us define what is a myth and a legend. A myth is a traditional story that explains people's beliefs about the natural and human world. Some may have factual origin, but most of the stories or most of the myths are completely fictional. These stories are from the distant past, and those who share these stories or who tell these stories believed they were true. Legend or a legend is also a traditional story of the past, and just like a myth, it also believed to be true. I know all of us here are very familiar with some of the famous myths and legends of the Philippines, and no one can deny how interesting they are to read. These stories aim to explain the origin of things and also to teach us valuable lessons. One of the famous legend here in the Philippines is the legend of pineapple, or ang alamat ng pinya. This story or this legend mainly answers the question, why do pineapples have many eyes? This is a story about a young and lazy girl named Pina. Pina always asked her mother where she kept the things that she needed, even though without looking for them at first. Her mother got tired of answering Pina's question, so her mother wished for Pina to have many eyes implanted on her face for her to start using it. To her mother's surprise, the next morning, Pina was nowhere to be found, and a unique fruit sprung in their yard, with many eyes implanted on it. And from then on, that fruit was called piña, or pineapple, which came from the name of Pina. So the moral lesson of the story is for children to be obedient, hardworking, and honest. Aside from this legend, there are still many famous legends or myths of the Philippines, just like the legend of the Maya bird and the girl who turned into a fish. These stories are passed from generations to generations and are very important in our literature. Now let us talk about the last marker, which is the heroes and icons. So each country have their own heroes and icons. Heroes served as a reminder of true patriotism and nationalism, for they have sacrificed their lives for the sake of the country's freedom and progress. But before we talk about the heroes and icons of the Philippines, it is also good to remember that heroes are not just humans. They can also be animals, just like Togo and Balto, the two Siberian Huskies who became a hero in 1925 because or after they led a team of sled dogs to help transport the diphtheria antitoxin serum
to Nome, Alaska, which saved a lot of children and people. They are preserved in museums. And also, in terms of the fictional world or fictional characters, we also know a lot of fictional superheroes, just like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, and the likes. And from these fictional superheroes and hero dogs, we can conclude that a hero is someone who will do his or her best to help the country or to help the people. And in the Philippines, first one on the list is none other than our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. Dr. Jose Rizal had written a lot of propagandas, a lot of literature which contains information about the Spaniards, which helped a lot of Filipinos to fight against the Spanish government in the Philippines. Aside from Dr. Jose Rizal, there are also a lot of war heroes during that time who really did their best or who give their all and sacrificed their lives for the sake of the country's freedom. And every year we'll lend a whole day to celebrate our heroes, or as we all know, the National Heroes Day. This is to remember their bravery and resilience that led to the freedom that we know today. Aside from our heroes, we also have our icons, helped make the Philippines be known worldwide and also have brought honor to the country. Some examples of Filipino icons are Manny Pacquiao, who is regarded as one of the greatest professional boxer of all time, Miss Lea Salonga, an award-winning singer and actress who became famous after his Tony Award-winning role of Miss Saigon, Heidelin Diaz, who became the first ever Filipino Olympic gold medalist, and other Filipino icons who excel in their own expertise and making all the Filipinos proud and making the country proud as well. Let us all remember that we must not forget these people, these heroes and icons, and we must continue to acknowledge them. To recap, there are 4 Filipino markers which served as a reminder of our nationality. The first one is the proverbs or salawikain, second is superstitions, third the myths and legends, and lastly the heroes and icons.
The political self and being a Filipino. So how to be a good Filipino? Hello everyone, good afternoon. I am Maria Fatima Villas and I will be discussing how to be a good Filipino. So the objective for the said topic is to know the ways on how to be a good Filipino. So there are various ways on how to become a good Filipino, and I will be giving you some of those ways. First, be an active Filipino citizen. A good Filipino citizen is aware of the current events and participates in government programs that aim for the country's progression and development. So how can someone become an active citizen? There are a lot of ways on how to become an active citizen, and one of those is exercising the right to vote. By simply exercising our right to vote, we also become an active citizen. When it comes to voting, the rich and the poor have equal voting rights. Every Filipino citizen of legal age have a chance in choosing the right leaders for the Philippines who are genuine in helping and caring for the Filipino people. The other one is be a responsible citizen. What responsible citizen means? Civic responsibility is defined as the responsibility of a citizen. It is comprised of the actions and attitudes associated with democratic governance and social participation. Citizenship means a productive, responsible, caring, and contributing member of society. Are you a responsible citizen? Legal obligations. No one can be a responsible citizen without staying within a law. Laws exist to protect citizens, the communities they live in, and their property. So be a responsible citizen. We must respect these laws and abide by them. Harming others or others' property does not equate to being a good citizen. Why do we need to be a responsible citizen? First, it makes generally a positive society. Good citizens make a society a better place by improving the environment that they live in. This provides everyone with a sense of community to an area and a sense of pride and responsibility for where they live in. How can we become a responsible Filipino citizen? There are a lot of ways on how to become a responsible citizen, and some of those are: follow traffic rules, be a responsible driver, commuter, or pedestrian. Be punctual and do not procrastinate. Ask for BIR official receipt. Pay your tax. Be a responsible parent. Love your husband or wife. Conserve water and energy. Protect our environment. So that was the first way on how to become a good Filipino. The second one is to study the Philippine history. The road of the Philippine history is long and bloody, and by learning and fully understanding the events, you will learn so much as to why it is so important to love your country with your life, extend help to your fellow Filipino in need, and recognize abuse of political power. Why is it important to know your country's history? Knowing the history of a country tells about culture and ethnic diversity as to know its role. History helps in understanding that our position internationally as a country depends on the sacrifices made by our elders to make it how it is today. It helps in understanding our laws as well as biases to develop. Studying Philippine history is important because you have to understand and know the things that happened in the past for you to appreciate the future and present situation of our country. What is the importance of history in our daily life? History helps us develop a better understanding of the world. You can't build a framework on which to base your life without understanding how things work in the world. History paints us a detailed picture of how society, technology, and government work way back when so that we can better understand how it works now. Why is it important to learn from the past? History gives us the opportunity to learn from others' past mistakes. It helps us understand the many reasons why people may behave the way they do. As a result, it helps us become more impartial as decision makers. Next is the third way, which is to support the local products or businesses. When you buy local products, you do not only support local manufacturers and businessmen, but you also help strengthen the local economy. Why do we need to support local products? There will be more demand of local products, thus, local businesses will be in need for more employees, which will open new job opportunities. The business owner will also invest within the country and are less likely to leave. Next, it helps build the Philippines economy. Supporting local means supporting yourself too. When you buy Philippine-made products, money stays in the community. When you purchase from locally owned enterprises because they also purchase from other local businesses such as banks, service providers, and farms. This in turn strengthens the Philippines' economic base, allowing support and success for other local businesses as well. Next is they care about and are invested in the well-being of our community and its future. Local businesses, after all, are owned and operated by our very own neighbors. They have a stronger sense of accountability too. They provide a different kind of care and quality in their products because most independent businesses are actually run by people. They also offer better and personalized customer service. The last one is they help build, preserve, and promote community character. Local enterprises are where the most interesting concepts and most unique ideas are generated. The fourth way of being a good Filipino is to speak the Filipino language. The history of the Filipino language was as long and hard as the Philippine history. Jose Rizal highlighted the importance of speaking a national language as a way of displaying the love for one's country. Speaking Filipino also serves as a unique identifier of being a Filipino. It has been a decade-long debate whether to use Filipino as instructional language in the school and to translate textbooks into Filipino. However, this is still not strictly imposed. As a Filipino, our language is inextricably connected to who we are as a people. A majority of the population know how to speak Filipino, so it's a way for us as a people to be united, especially during these days. The Filipino language is the spirit of the national identity. And the last one is do not spread fake news and be democratic and engaging with dissent. This period in the history of the Philippines has seen how the internet has spawned tons of possibilities for people, both good and bad. For instance, it is easier for Filipinos working abroad to communicate with their loved ones left in the Philippines through the internet. Despite this, the internet has also made the spread of fake news very common. Likewise, the internet has also made us engage in intense arguments with people across the globe about our political positions, for example. It is part of being a good Filipino to understand and verify what you read online, especially in social media, before actually believing in it and spreading it like wildfire. It is also a responsibility of every Filipino to recognize disagreement in the political views, be tolerant, and argue intelligently without having to resort into name-calling people. And that would be all for how to be a good Filipino. Once again, good afternoon. This is Maria Fatima Villas from Group 3, leaving you a quote, "Every good citizen adds to the strength of a nation" by Gordon B. Hinckley. Thank you.